Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tech Educator Podcast. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Welcome to your weekly Sunday night webinar. Tonight, we're talking all about the MIE program, the Microsoft Innovative Educators. I had a fantastic time last week at ISTE out in Denver. We had an amazing experience. We're going to be talking a lot about that over the next couple weeks here on TeacherCast. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the MIE program and what it's all about. In order to do that, I have some great guests today. I want to bring on Josh, Richard, and Summer from the Microsoft Innovative Educators program. Josh, how are you today? Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us here on the Tech Educator Podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's awesome to be here and can't wait to talk about this.
Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a instructional technology coach is my official title, but basically I help teachers in my district learn to use the technology. And before that, I was a middle school history teacher for 15 years.
Excellent.
So kind of a big switch.
Very, very cool. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Richard, how are you today? Welcome to the program.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a Cancer. I like long walks on the beach and more. So I'm a technology integration specialist. I've been a middle school librarian for 11 years, and I'm transitioning into a new role this fall. And I'm in the Seattle area, specifically Lake Washington School District, which is Redmond, Sammamish, and Kirkland.
Very, very cool. And it was great to see you this weekend over at the MIE Summit.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Want to talk also to Summer. Summer, how are you today? Welcome to the program.
Hello. Great to be here.
It is so nice to see you. Thank you so much for being on the program today. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Summer.
My official title is digital coach. But basically, after 8 years in the secondary, junior high, and high school math classrooms, I'm transitioning over to teaching and training the staff at our school as we implement a one-to-one program with Surface 3s.
That is awesome, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about that. Of course, if you are watching live, as we do every single Sunday night, you can find us over on TeacherCast.tv. There's, of course, several great ways that you can reach out and be a part of the show each and every week if you can't make it live. We love it when you follow us on Twitter at TeacherCast. Leave us a voicemail over at teachercast.net/voicemail. Email us at feedback@teachercast.net. And of course, you can subscribe to this and all of our shows, audio and video, over on teachercast.net/iTunes and teachercast.net/YouTube. And I want to talk a little bit about how a show like this got together. It was about 2 years ago. We started doing shows with Microsoft, and actually we've done 2 rounds of Microsoft March. So if you go over to teachercast.net/Microsoft EDU, we have some great shows. I think we have about 30 to 35 podcasts already featuring great guests from the OneNote team, from the Office Mix team, from the Windows team, and of course our favorite guest. I want to give a big shout out to our friend and yours, Mr. Cameron Evans. But we've never really done a full show with Microsoft Innovative Educators, and I am proud to say that in October I became an MIE. And guys, let's just kind of start off the bat here. What is a Microsoft Innovative Educator? Richard, what is an MIE?
So Microsoft Innovative Educator are for people who are really using technology in innovative ways to impact student learning. It means you've gone through a very short application process on the Microsoft Educator site. You've maybe posted a lesson, you filled out your profile, and you're connecting with other people. You start at that level, and really it opens you up to this great collection of lessons, of tools, of resources, but of people who are making a difference in their classrooms because they're great teachers and they're using technology in really innovative ways.
And how are you using technology, Richard, in your classroom? What kind of things are you doing that you consider yourself an innovative educator?
So I, as a teacher librarian, I get to work with kind of everybody in the building. I was in a school of 600. Before that, I was in a school of 1,200. And I love to go in and talk research. I love to go in and talk presentations. I like to talk about making digital stories or about connecting with other classrooms. And so using tools like OneNote, like Sway, like Office 365, using Skype in the classroom, all those different tools, reinforce, I think, kind of the goals of the program, innovative use of technology, but it's all about, helping our students meet their standards and connect and helping them just think, do the things that they need to do. And I'm getting kind of tongue-tied as I'm saying it. So one of my great colleagues will also fill in with that. But it's just, it's about good teaching. I mean, that's the core of the program, is about good teaching and about helping students.
Well, I understand that the MIE program, and I learned a lot about it this past weekend here in Denver, we'll talk about that in a little bit, is broken down by country, it's broken down by region. Josh, am I correct in thinking, in understanding that you're a regional leader? Is that the title here?
Yeah, this year we have what's called regional leads, and we've broken down the country into different chunks. As the number of experts doubled this year, it just made a little bit more sense to have somebody kind of local to kind of organize events. So when we have a big conference in the area, we organize get-togethers. We've done a couple in Southern California, one at the Big Q conference in March, and we had another one just at dinner one night. We just got together, some of us. So we try and do things like that. And it's also kind of a chance to kind of talk to people a little bit more often, in the sense that we have our big forum once a year, but we don't see each other in person too often. But with the regional leads, we try and organize some things that allow us to get together in person a little bit more often.
And so when we're looking at the MIE program here, one of the questions that somebody needs to ask is, do I qualify for the MIE program? And I want to start the show off by saying, if you are listening to this, and if you are in an Office 365 school or in an Office 365 program, you can be eligible. Right now, in fact, the applications are available, and we're going to make sure that all the links and stuff are on our show notes here under the Tech Educator podcast, and maybe I'll ask our co-host here to start to pump them into our chat over on TeacherCast.tv. But
there's a couple of links in there right now, just so you know.
Absolutely. Now, Summer, could you talk a little bit about the application process?
Yeah, so the application process involves getting on the Microsoft Educator community and becoming part of that. And then once you've done that, it's creating a PowerPoint mix or a video or a sway that just details in some form or fashion different ways that you've been innovative in your classroom and how you've used Microsoft technologies to do that, whether it be software, hardware, or whatnot. What has allowed you to become innovative, and what has pushed you to reach for a different level of instruction in your own personal classroom? And your classroom could be a group of kiddos, or if you are a leader in your school or an administrator, it could also be a group of teachers, could be your classroom, or individuals across your corporation. So when I say classroom, take that in a very broad sense, but the people that you're teaching and leading.
So I want to stop here and kind of make people who are listening to this, whether it be during this application process or perhaps in a few months after this application process, I want to make them aware of something very important that I learned this past weekend about the MIE program. This is not a pro application process. This is a pro teaching process. And the one thing that I got, and I want to have us kind of talk a little bit about this as we go through here on the podcast, everything about the MIE program is student focused. It is about creating the best lesson plans. It's about creating the best teaching environment. It's not a program, and I've been a part of many of these, that it's my company is awesome and you will use my products. This is a group, I'll even say this is a family experience where it is completely focused on how can we support each other as educators to support our teachers. Josh, what do you get out of a program like the MIEs? What has this done for you as a teacher, and how has this impacted your teaching environment?
So for me, when I became an MIE expert, it was my first year on the job as a technology coach, and I was struggling. I didn't know the answers to a lot of questions, and so having 100 other experts and now 200 other experts around the country, pretty much anytime I have a question, there's somebody who can answer the question. Someone else has already been through it. Someone else has experienced it. So it's a lot of help from everybody like that. But like you mentioned earlier, what I like the most about this is that it's not just about using technology. It's really about the teaching. And so the whole point of it with everybody is that, good teaching with technology is great teaching, but bad teaching adding technology is still just bad teaching. So we're really about what's the best way to make the teaching, not just what's the best way to add technology to it. And people are great about sharing things and ideas and lessons that they've all done.
Richard, what do you get out of the MIE program? How have you used your experiences to help your students?
So I think what's nice is that when you're trying to get like one thing that people do, they're trying to get an idea, like, I think I want to try this, or I'm trying to figure out how to get my head around this tool or this resource. And you just want someone else to bounce ideas off, or to test like a Skype session, or to make sure this lesson uploaded correctly, or just to look at it. I can send a text to 200 plus people and I get instant feedback from them. So for someone who is looking for that professional learning network, just a group of individuals that, again, focused on kids, focused on teaching, focused on good quality teaching, that's reason enough to join the group right there, just because you will have that support. You will have a team of people who will tell you exactly like what it is that the kind of feedback that you're hoping for. And so when I'm at, like, I mean, I wanted to try Skype in the classroom. I put out tried a mystery Skype. So I put out a message in our group me. Group me is just a tool that we all use to communicate with. And I put out a message saying, "I'd love to try mystery Skype. Can anyone help?" And I had, immediately feedback like, "Yes, I've got a group of third graders, or I have a group of teachers, or you can just try your Skype connection with me real quick to make sure it worked." Because, you don't want to set up a great program and try something and they get blocked by a filter at your school. So it's like, it's kind of our test ground. It's our sandbox of all those different ideas. And then people take what it is they're learning and practicing and put that back into classroom, put that into a staff training, put that into practice. And it's setting you up for success, and it's setting you up to do those things that you really want to do.
Summer, it seems like what I'm hearing here out of Richard and of Josh is, by being an MIE, it gives you the ability not just to be an expert, but to be able to make mistakes and to be able to go out there, maybe try something knowing that you have a support system. Do you have any good stories about being an MIE, maybe where your support system has helped back you up and affected some of the work that's been going on in your classrooms?
Yeah, I mean, many times over this year, I've gone through the first of many different things, and they have definitely backed me up. This is my first year as digital coach, and with a first year comes many firsts of failure. And with that also comes many questions. And so for a specific example, I wanted to utilize Skype in the classroom. And the very first time I did that, I actually reached out and ended up getting to Skype with some of the OneNote program managers. But through that, I didn't really know what to do. So I was able to kind of reach out to the community and say, okay, who can help me out? What are my first steps? How do I make sure that I'm ready and prepared, and so forth? And I just kind of want to tag along with that there have been many times where I don't even know what the first step is just on something. And I've been able to just put out, especially in the group me, it's probably our quickest way to communicate with one another. Questions about, okay, what have you done in the past? What has worked for you? Where can I go from here? And so that has been exceptionally just fantastic, knowing that I've got this group of colleagues that know what I need even before I know that I need it. And it's absolutely crazy. As I've gone through this integration of Surface 3s for our building, we have about 1,100 students. We get questions all the time about, can we do this? Can we not do this on the tech side of things? And our techs have even begun saying, can you reach out to your community and find something out, because they don't necessarily know the answer. So, on the hardware side, on the software side, it's just a great community to bounce questions off of, and just this whole idea of, is this even possible?
So we're go ahead.
To jump in on that same thing, there's a lot of steps, a lot of things that we're trying to do at work that I don't even know the first step. And we have this group me that we keep mentioning, which is, this big text messaging group chat that we, throw things into. And it's pretty amazing how quick the responses come and how helpful everybody is with stuff. And, sometimes you check your group me and there's 200 messages in it. And, it's really a cool way to connect with everybody in a really quick manner.
So it was kind of funny. We were all in Denver this last weekend, like 100 MIE experts together, and numerally, like today alone, it's a Sunday. If there were less than 100 messages on there, I'd be surprised. Saturday, when we were all in Denver, there was like no messages, because we finally got to all talk face to face and share and say like, oh yeah, you shared their great idea. And I remember when you posted that photo, and oh, how is X, Y, or Z going? Because we heard all the stories that were already on GroupMe. So it's great to have that virtual connection. And then it was so impactful to have that face-to-face connection with everyone.
Before we get to Denver, because I definitely want to spend some time on this, let's just make sure we go over the application here. It is a sway or some kind of presentation. One more time, does somebody want to go over what the expectations are and who we need to send everything to?
I'm pulling up the website. Of course, my computer is taking a moment to refresh. So if you go to aka.ms/MIE, and a couple of us have put that on the chat window, it walks you through the 3 things that you need to do. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to pull it up, but it's not there. You need to answer 3 questions. Why do you consider yourself to be an innovative educator? What Microsoft products are you using in innovative ways? And if you were to join the MIE Expert program, what is it that you would bring to the program? I think I'm right?
Yeah, those are the 3.
Okay. And so then you make either a sway or an office mix or some other way to share your answers to those 3 questions. And on that page, there's a short survey at the end where you put your link on there. Make sure your link works before you send it, like send it to a friend, have them open it up, make sure you have permissions right. And then you put that all in there, and it gets sent probably to Robyn.
So when we put our application in, the idea is that we also have to put in a link to our open PayPal account. Is that what we also need to do?
No, it's totally free. Everything in it is free, and you get a lot of stuff. You get a lot of stuff out of it for free.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, right? Because this week we had the opportunity to meet each other face to face in Denver, and we participated in this amazing weekend of learning. And my favorite part, I have to say, was the root beer floats. What was your favorite part of this whole thing?
I think for me, the best part was getting to actually meet everybody in person. We were talking, some of us, how it's kind of strange that I consider these people all to be my friends, but I've never met half of them that were there. I've met them virtually, and we've chatted and we've talked. I mean, some of us talk every day online, but we've never actually met in person. So the chance to finally actually meet people was really amazing. And the hunt is also really cool too. What
are you referring to when you say the hunt?
So the hunt is a massive scavenger hunt all across the city that we do for a couple hours, and then it's really cool. We did it last year in Philly and this year in Denver. Gives us a chance to kind of get to see the city that we're in, because many of us have never been there, and gives us a chance to kind of figure out where we're at, and then it's really fun.
So when we were getting ready for this, and please help me fill in the picture here for everybody, we were put into teams. I believe we were in more than 20 or 25 teams.
I think 26,
There
I
were
think.
26.
For each, and we were given instructions to download this app, which was created by how old is he? 11? He
turned 20.
20.
He turned 20.
Okay.
You're there.
and all we know was that we were playing we were going to be running around Denver, and I got to tell you, as somebody who doesn't do icebreakers, I was nervous about this, and then I found out that I was going to be under the watch of the fantastic Tammy Dunbar, and all I knew was that I was going to be tired by the end of the day. What were your thoughts? And some of you guys have done this before, but what were your thoughts going into the weekend, knowing that this event was going to be happening?
Excitement.
Yeah, super excited about it.
So the hunt, Nathan has done it now. He did it last year for Philly. He did it for NCCE, which is a local conference up here. We did it in Denver, obviously. But the hunt aside, it's like having had the experience last year, you just knew you were going to go in leaving with tons of ideas, resources. But again, just the time to sit and laugh and talk and share. And then also the collaboration that was going on, like the people that you heard, there's someone doing some lesson planning. There's someone getting help with a unit. There's someone connecting for a mystery Skype they're going to do in the fall, right when their kids get back. It was 100 teachers being teachers, which it's kind of like everything that you do. You have fun, and then you've always got your kind of teacher role kind of in the back of your mind. And fortunately, you're in a room with people that are all in that same position, that are just amazing, wonderful, great friends and really family.
Now, the app, when you turned it on, had a countdown clock. So I think it started counting down at a month. And then by the time we got there, I think it was at 9:30, they finally gave us our directions. And then when you look on the app, it was 30 minutes and counting. And they gave us this word search. Can somebody tell me or explain this word search that till this day still gives me nightmares because I couldn't figure it out?
So the word search is just this random jumble of letters and no clues, no hints, and you just have to find words. And then by finding the words that are in the word search, some of them are a clue and some of them are just random there to mess you up. And you have to solve the clue. And by solving the clue, you have to find the answer to it in the word search, but it's made up by a pattern of letters that aren't actually part of the words that you find in the word search. And that sounds really confusing, and it's just as confusing when you actually see it.
It was amazing.
We gave up.
Two people.
We tried. Yes. But what's better though is that we got a couple of clues like 2 days before the hunt actually started that were either about Denver or just random facts you could look up online. And you could see people like in the airport getting there, running around the airport trying to solve some of these. Yeah. We interviewed our cab driver from the airport to the hotel saying, so, I mean, just especially about the Denver ones, there is one clue that nobody solved. Ever.
Yeah, we no one solved one clue, and Nathan wouldn't tell us. He said he's going to save it for next year. So we're all going to be looking for it over the next year to try and figure out the answer to this clue.
Well, I got to tell you, Tammy put me in charge of all the clues, and I took a half an hour to figure out this word search, got most of the way, what I thought, through, and then it didn't leave my sight for 2 hours as Tammy threw me all around. I think I ended up with like 22,000 steps. It was like 5 miles. I was an exhausted boy. But let's talk a little bit about the scavenger hunt, because it took us all around Denver. How many of you guys didn't do the scavenger hunt for free? How many of you guys broke down and took a cab or paid for some mode of transportation?
No, we did it for free. Now, Summer had the best hunt experience. Her group was amazing out there.
Thanks, Josh. You mean by 26th place? Yeah. My group did get last place in the hunt.
Good. I mean, you know.
But sometimes you have bigger issues to deal with, like lost credit cards and such. So, you know, priorities in life, but it was still, no matter what, like whether we were doing the clues or not, just being with a small group of people who you have been in contact with for, 6 months to a year, just getting to actually talk to them and really just learn about their day-to-day life and what they're going to encounter in the next academic year. That itself was awesome. Just trying to infuse wisdom into one another. So whether we were actually solving the clues or whether we were walking, to pick up a credit card that had been lost, either way, I think that the hunt, whether you were in first place or whether you were in last place, it definitely did what it was supposed to do.
So my understanding that you created your own game within the game, is that what I'm getting at here?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. How do we remain in last place? So
I got to tell you about the cleverness of this here. Now, I know that Microsoft sent Nathan, the creator of this, out earlier, and guys, it was amazing to go through this whole thing. My favorite game, and I know a certain person out there is going to smile when I say this, my favorite part of the entire hunt was when we were sitting there in front of a bowl of M&Ms. And we had to take a straw. And look, this was like 2.5 hours into, well, it was like a 2-hour game, but for me, it was like 2.5 hours into this. And I was thinking that it was time to eat. And so then they gave us the straws, and she's just like, all right, pick a color, and you need to put the M&M of that color into another bowl without using your hands. And I thought, okay. And next thing I know, I'm going, I'm not going to do this. But was it 1 minute or 2 minutes, I'm watching my teammates take their straws and suck an M&M into the side of the straw. I'm not kidding. And I only got 8, but my teammate won the prize for 28 M&Ms. Is it in a minute or 2 minutes? I forget what it was.
1 minute.
1 minute.
You got 8?
Well, look, I was.
It's a pretty low number.
Look,
just saying.
It was at the end of the game. You've been running around. You had to go up to the Mile High sign. There was the library. You're excused.
Thank you.
Yeah, though, I got 22. I feel like you should have at least gotten 15.
My team didn't get that clue, so we never made it that far. But Summer, I did see her group we ran into them while they were out having fun, and they were making videos. Even though they weren't answering all the questions, they were making videos of their trip around Denver. So that was pretty fun to watch them.
I got to tell you, though, it was nice. We had a great time. Everything was laid out unbelievable. And also the fact that we got up to the Capitol building and we had to take a selfie in front of the little ring that says, "Hey, you're a mile high," and it was really cool. I have so many questions. My goal, and if you're out there watching, please help me out with this. I'd like to get Nathan on the show just to grill him on how all of these things worked, because it was amazing. It really, really was. And I'm looking forward to being out in San Antonio next year. I'm sure he'll have us swimming in the river or something like that. But there was a lot of neat things. But anyway, so the hunt happened, and then we came back and we had lunch and everything was great. What was the afternoon activity? Was that Breakout or was that the next day? What was the afternoon? Oh,
the learning gallery.
The learning gallery. That was amazing.
We had the Ignite speeches, some in the morning and some in the afternoon as well.
I can't say enough how wonderful it was. The learning walk was great. What was the basic idea of that? It was create a lesson using digital technology, and they split us up into 3 different categories. You could pick whichever category you want. I chose how to create a podcast, and some people chose how to do what did you guys choose? My favorite one was I walked away with authentic Georgia sweet tea. That was my favorite thing out of the whole deal.
Cool. Nice.
So I had
Josh, help us imagine yours.
So I had an elementary school lesson, and my lesson was pretty good. But when I got there and saw how good the actual bulletin boards were, I knew that I was in the wrong category, because elementary school teachers are way too creative. So I kind of trashed my bulletin board at that point and started over once I got in the room. It was embarrassingly bad compared to the rest of those people. They were so much more creative than me.
So what did you do with your board, Josh?
I closed it and just wrote "Imagine the possibilities" and left it at that. It was spectacular.
So then we had an amazing time on Saturday night. Great little shindig. And then Sunday we came back and we did Breakout EDU. Does anybody want to talk a little bit about what Breakout EDU is?
Sure. So it's kind of following that tradition that you see a lot of places now, or that idea you have the rooms that you get locked in, you have to escape, you have to solve problems and puzzles to either get out the door or just whatever it is. It's very low tech, but it is high level thinking, problem solving, group work, teamwork, research, everything. Essentially, we were given 2 boxes, a small one with a combination lock on it, like 3 numbers, and then a larger wooden box that had 4 locks on it. One was a key, one was a directional lock, one was a 4-digit lock, and then one was a letter combination. And using, we had to use Minecraft, we had to watch some Skype videos, we had to go to different websites, we had to look through OneNote, we had to listen to video clues. You had to work with your team to unlock all the locks. Like the small box, when you opened that up, it had more clues that led you to the bigger box. And what's great are seeing a room of 100 people working together. Some are talking loud, some are quietly talking so that they're not giving away anything. You would hear one group cheer because they got one of the locks opened. And I remember there was one clue that said something that basically let us know that the keys were out in the lobby, and you just see people sprinting with their boxes out there and running back and trying to unlock things. And we did not break out. We got stuck by one lock, but I got to take one of the cases and bring it back, and I've got now. That was fun to try to get through TSA, but it worked. And I have this to take back to my team to say, like, hey, how could this make a place in our district? But you go to their site at Breakout EDU. I don't know if it's .org, but they have a Facebook group that you can join. But there's just tons of these lessons that are just, you can copy and paste right into your curriculum, or they teach you how to make your own. And it was, again, just another time. This was a completely different team. This was not our hunt team. I got to be with people I didn't know. One of the person from my district, Melissa Rinchie, which was great, so that she and I can take that experience back together. But just another time to connect and think about how could this impact our students? How could we use this, and just have so much fun.
Well, the other thing that was cool about it is that there were so many different approaches that people were taking to get through this. So like you said, some groups were quiet and some were working loud. My group, it was interesting. I realized quickly that there was one of the locks needed a key. So there had to be a physical key in that room or close by somewhere. We never actually got to the clue that said there's a key, but I realized it and just went out searching until I found the keys, and then brought them back and found the right key to open the box, because they had to be there somewhere. So it was interesting because it was a chance to see how people really work in different ways. Some people went through and followed all the steps, and some were like, it's a breakout. Let's just figure out how we can figure out to get this thing open. And we went very different routes around it.
Sure.
So we have a very live audience over here on TeacherCast.tv. And if you have any questions as we're doing this live, please bring it up. I love the conversations. I'm going to ask my co-hosts here, if you are seeing any links that are not on our show notes doc, please help me transfer everything over so we can make sure everything gets up. Now, the point of the show that I am excited to do, and if you are watching, I want you guys to help be a part of this too, and certainly for everybody that's on the show. This whole weekend would not have been possible if not for at least one amazing person. I want to go around and just say the words, how awesome is Robyn?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way we could get through this without Robyn. And not just this weekend, but the whole program. She's so helpful with it that when we have questions, she's one of the first to answer the questions. If she doesn't know the answer, she knows who knows them and directs us to it. And then we get to the hunt and we get to the forum, and everything runs so smooth. She lined up awesome guest speakers, Anthony and Margot and Tony and all those people that came and spoke to us. It was amazing to see all the stuff that we got to do, and there's no way we would have been able to pull that off without Robyn. So it's an amazing weekend.
You know, I think any big program like this that's national and kind of also international needs somebody who's patient, somebody who's smart, somebody who will answer the same question 100 times over and over again, and that will always do it, you know, with a smile, and that will constantly say, whatever you need, I'm here for. Whatever help you need, I can do. And that's just someone who Robyn is. She's a great person. She's a great educator. She has a long history in education, and she's our program organizer, and the program is successful because of the way that she works with everyone and the way that she helps us out.
Yeah, and I would say too that, you know, we see a lot of stuff that's on the surface, but she also does tons and tons and tons of stuff that is just, it's below water, so to speak. Like, you know, she's doing things all the time that are really holding us together that we don't know about. So yes, we see her answering questions, and she's usually one of the quickest right there along with everyone else. And we can see visibly some of the things she does. But so much of what she does is holding us together underneath and preparing things and planning things. So I would say that definitely it's the stuff that we don't see that really excels Robyn to the top of planning something like this and keeping an organization running like this.
Was that a pun that we just missed? Because you said that we all see things on the surface.
No, what I do on surfaces. It should have been punny, okay. But I wasn't.
But seriously, you know, many of us go to major conferences. Many of us have a chance to interact with several conference organizers. We go to ed camps. We know what it's like to handle an ed camp, or, you know, even stuff in our school. I know you're out there watching. Thank you. It was an amazing time. I personally had so much. I had a great time working with Tammy, working with the team, meeting everybody. And again, the Root Beer floats were amazing opportunity to have there. Can I get an amen for the Root Beer floats or something like that?
Those were good.
Yeah, they were good.
So as were the mini hot dogs, as were weren't there brownies? I mean, it's the food. Always the food is good.
I mean, the whole weekend though, from all day long Saturday, all day long Sunday, even Saturday night, the awards banquet, that was something new that we hadn't done last year, and that was a really cool event to see people get recognized for some of the stuff they've done, and some of the categories were kind of fun. It was just everything after another was also really cool. Even up to the flash mob, which there's no way I thought I would ever do a flash mob, but that was amazing.
Flash mob.
So real quick Robyn story. Maybe we can go one more round here because she's well, we've talked enough about her right now, I think. But we had this situation where we were in one of the buildings. We went to the other building. It was lunchtime. I put all my stuff up, and I'm looking through my pockets going, uh-oh, I don't have my phone with me. And I was getting ready to run down the steps, run across the buildings, and just as I was heading down the hallways past the Root Beer floats, I see Robyn coming up, and in her hand is my phone. That's the type of person that she is, and that's why we all love her. So 1, 2, 3. We love you, Robyn.
Love you,
Robyn. Love you, Robyn.
All right. So let's take a look at ISTE now, because there was so many amazing things. I will give a few stories after we're getting through this next part, because I was actually at ISTE way after hours when everybody else was leaving. I had a chance to spend time at the Microsoft booth and learn about all that really cool stuff when when the lights were out. It was awesome. But what did you guys think about Microsoft's presentation at the booth? They had Minecraft, they had presentations, they had Makerspace. What did you guys think of? Did you guys all stand at the booth and talk, or did you take it all in, or what did you think?
Josh and I lived the booth.
We were there all 3 days, the whole day.
Which was really cool to be able to sign up for that, to be able to do it. We're both trainers with NCCE, and then both also do master trainer with Microsoft with the MIE program as well. So if you get into the join the MIE program. The expert program is another level, but within that you can become a Microsoft Innovative Educator trainer, which gives you access to just trainings that you can just deliver immediately to your staff, use them with your students, gives you a way to kind of track your progress and to get badges and everything. So through that, Josh and I signed up to work the booth, and it was great to be selected. So I did 3 different presentations downstairs, 2 of them on Sway, 1 of them on Office 365. And then I did a couple of 30-minute called Ignite sessions, one on becoming a Microsoft expert, and then another one on Office 365. But a lot of the fun of the booth experience is just talking to people as they walk by, answering questions, showing them how to do something, exchanging business cards and saying, hey, when I do Mystery Skype this fall, I met someone, hung out with Ann Merchant from Australia. She's going to Mystery Skype with a college class that I teach this fall, so I can show them that experience. And I connect with other tech directors and tech coaches and teachers, and just talking about good teaching and being able to say, I don't know how to do that in OneNote, but hey, here's the guy who invented OneNote. Let's go ask him, and he's going to answer your question for him, because that's what those developers are like. And so having teachers, developers, everyone in the booth in one place, seeing Ron Clark's kids take over the Minecraft station and just start doing Minecraft and showing adults how to do it and tell why they like it. I mean, it was a very busy area, and just awesome to be part of that.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, having the developers there who actually wrote some of the programs and who know the answers to things. Most of the experts we're pretty good at figuring out most of the stuff, but there are times where I'm like, I'm not actually sure, but the guy that wrote it standing right here, he can answer it. And then some of the stuff that was new this year, I don't know if you guys got a chance to see the new whiteboard app that's coming out that's tied into OneNote. They were showing it on the Service Hub, and it was really, really cool to see the stuff that one did. And then the Makerspace was packed the entire time. There were so many kids over there making really cool stuff. It was really cool to see the Makerspace in action the whole time. And of course, Minecraft, but I mean, we knew that was going to be crazy the whole time, but the Makerspace was really fun to see.
And handing out OneNote capes nonstop.
Oh, yeah. I think we handed out 14,000 capes or something like that in 3 days. So that was pretty crazy.
People went in the classroom saying, yes, here you go. Here's 30. Take them, please.
When teachers were coming up to you guys, what were some of the questions that they were asking? What are concerns that educators have these days that maybe Microsoft is building solutions around?
I think a lot of them, there was a lot of questions are on different products that they've seen and just kind of wanted to know them a little bit better. So a lot of OneNote questions, that seems to be where a lot of people are headed. But then, hey, I'm trying to do this in my class. What's something I could use? So, showing them how to use Mix to make screencasts for their classrooms, or show them how to use Sway to do some digital storytelling. The other cool thing about the booth is I think there were 30-minute sessions, and every 30 minutes was another session. So there was a lot of people that I got to learn stuff from. So some stuff like Tacoma Schools is doing this amazing thing with Power BI with their data analysis. And so I had a chance to see that and learn some really cool stuff that they're doing, and then have a chance to try and meet with them to do stuff with my district. So the connections in the booth were really cool, because it gave us a chance to see people and meet people in a much smaller setting.
Now, wait a minute. I have to stop the podcast right here. For those of you in the car still driving, please just don't worry about this. But we have a question here that needs immediate answers here. P. George from AZRION, Arizona, asks, what is a OneNote Cape? Summer, can you please fill us in here? What is a OneNote Cape?
Okay, I think maybe that's Peggy. If you can see right here, you have a big N on a purple piece of like satiny type material. It's a cape. So one thing that we talk about is that we avenge the world one note at a time. So we are OneNote Avengers. So we like to wear our capes, showing that we are awesome Avengers and we are out to save the world one note at a time. So I'll put on my cape just to, make it official. Oh, there you go, Richard. We are OneNote Avengers. So I'm going to actually, while I talk about the cape, and there's Flopsy with the cape on, if we can pan.
She has her cape on too.
Flopsy?
Yeah, Flopsy.
Wait a minute. What is a Flopsy?
So Flopsy is the mascot of the expert program, and she is a llama. And so as part of the hunt this year, each group had a Flopsy, and we had to take Flopsy with us. But she also, throughout the year, we'll take her to different conferences we're doing. And we'll take pictures and send pictures of where in the world Flopsy is. If any of us travel, if we go to conferences, whatever, we tend to take pictures and send the pictures around. So it's kind of a fun game that we play throughout the year of where in the world is Flopsy right now. So like I know last year, I took Flopsy to Hawaii for a conference, to Monterey, to Phoenix, and a couple other places, Palm Springs. And so we were sending pictures of Flopsy and other people doing the same thing. So it's kind of a fun little thing that we keep going throughout the year, that continues from the forum throughout the rest of the year.
So you're saying that if I become a regional leader for the MIE program, I could have my own Flopsy?
Well, this year we have
one
Flopsies
for everybody.
Yeah, we had one per team this year at the hunt. So there were 26. There's now 25 of them floating around out there since one is missing.
Thanks, Josh.
I wasn't going to say who lost theirs, but there's 25 of them floating around, and we'll send them back and forth. Last year, we'd mail them to other people, like, hey, I have this coming up. Can I get Flopsy? And we'd send Flopsy back and forth in the mail, too, or meet up at a conference and pass it on to somebody else. So it was cool.
Very cool. What happened to Flopsy?
I believe there is a hashtag follow Flopsy.
Yeah, follow Flopsy hashtag.
I think there's still a hashtag for Flopsy out there.
Yeah.
And am I correct in understanding that Flopsy was part of the hunt and we had to take selfies with the Flopsy?
Yeah. And if you didn't have Flopsy, then you couldn't really finish all the questions in the hunt. Which we're just referring to, there was a particular group who will remain nameless that left their Flopsy at the first stop and then couldn't take the selfies because they didn't have Flopsy for the rest of it. Although
just for clarification, it was before the first stop.
Okay, I wasn't trying to throw anybody under the bus. They could have photoshopped Flopsy in, because there were groups that were photoshopping themselves into the spots. They figured out the answer to some of the questions and just photoshopped in the pictures, but we called them out for it. But they
yes.
We play by the rules.
Wow, this is this is cutthroat podcasting right here. Let's take a look at the next year, right? Because we going through the MIE program again. If you're interested in signing up, the applications are live. One more time, when do applications close, guys?
July 15th.
July 15th. So if you're listening to this podcast, get on it. It is only once a year. They started out the end of June is when it usually opens up again. And
June
so
1st, July 15th.
So check that stuff out today. And again, if you are somebody who is listening to this maybe sometime during the year, my advice, and I get asked this a lot, I do a lot of PD on how to get into programs such as this. If you're doing awesome things throughout the year, start to document, take pictures, record lessons, make movies of your projects. So that way, when things like the MIE program or the Evernote program or the Google programs or anything like that, when they do come up, you have this type of content available. Nobody wants to wait till the last minute before the applications are due and realize you don't have pictures of stuff or you can't find proof to show how awesome you are. So think about this as you're going through the year. Find ways to document the great stuff that's going on out there. Certainly look at this. I'm going to be taking away a lot of stuff from this conference and from the summit for next year. My question to you guys is, what are you taking away? I know some of you guys took away the breakaway boxes. Some of you guys even took away Flopsy. Some of you didn't. But what are you taking away for next year?
One of the things that I took away was, and we've kind of already started this, that in the GroupMe chat, we started talking about, we all play Mystery Skype with our classes, but it'd be fun. A lot of us have kids at home, our own kids, and we've started playing Mystery Skype with our kids between all of us experts. So we've already had a couple games of it, and we're actually, we're calling them our mini MIEs. It's all of our kids that are in the program, which is, it's kind of fun. It's not something official, but it's just something that we've kind of adapted to. I think that's kind of what we've mentioned, that it's really a community. It's much like a family between us. And so the connections we've made between that and allowing each other to have these, Skype connections with our kids and doing projects. And I know one of the experts, she homeschools her son. And so she did a project with a whole bunch of us that she asked us to send postcards from all over the country for her son's homeschooling stuff. And it was, that's the kind of connections. And that's where it'll be for me for the next year is the connections I make with the people and the different kind of games and things that we can play, whether it's Mystery Skype, whether it's doing different lessons, sharing documents with each other and with our classes. That's really where it is for me.
So we have a couple of questions out here. I believe I'm right in thinking that there's an official Mystery Skype website. Can anybody attest to that or talk about why we have one, why we need one? I know there was recently a little advertising campaign to get like 1 trillion miles of Skype. Talk about that.
So I just posted a link to the Skype in the Classroom site, which is what it is. Skype in the Classroom, which is on the Microsoft Educator Network. It will connect you with how to use Skype in your classroom, whether that's going on a virtual field trip, bringing in a professional, collaborating with another class and doing a project, or playing Mystery Skype. Mystery Skype is essentially your classroom connects with another classroom, and you play 20 questions around a topic. Most people do where are you, either where in the United States, where in the world. There's Mystery Math Skype where you're trying to guess the same 3-digit number or same decimal. You could play Mystery Element. You could play
we did animal this week with some little kids too.
Yeah. Mystery Book, Mystery Plot, Mystery Part of Speech. I mean, you could make it about anything you wanted to. The point is that kids are having to use thinking, problem solving. You have to do a little bit of pre-teaching. When we did it in 7th grade, went in the day before to explain how Mystery Skype works, but then reviewed like our geography terms and reviewed a map and tried to figure out what are the best ways we can ask questions to get the right kind of answers. And then, they play Mystery Skype, and then because they're kids, they just want to hang out and talk. They want to connect. They want to have those conversations that middle school students or elementary school students or high school or just students want to have. So you have this kind of academic goal, but then the global citizenship goes with it very easily, and kids just connect. So it's skypeintheclassroom.com. I'm sorry, yeah, skypeintheclassroom.com. There's lots of ways you can get to it, but it's or education.microsoft.com/skypeintheclassroom will get you set up, sign up for free, and then it just walks you through. I'm available Monday at 5 o'clock. Who else can Mystery Skype then? And just follow the information right on the screen.
And you'll find on there lots and lots of guest speakers and lots of tons of people who are willing to play all the time. There's some of us are like, I'm not in a classroom. I'm a technology coach, which means I have lots of like random times that I can fill in on a Mystery Skype. So, hey, my class that I was going to Mystery Skype with fell through. Who can I, and I connect with people. There's tons of people on there that are willing to help out and play all the time.
Like last spring, I was going to be with a group of teachers. I said I wanted to Mystery Skype. Josh said, hey, I've got a teacher who wants to try it. So it was like this perfect, like teachers who are willing to do anything, kids who just want to try it. And I think we had some sound issues during the actual Mystery Skype. We didn't care. We grabbed pieces of paper and wrote questions on it, and yes or no. It worked, and both sides had this kind of really cool connection. That was a lot of fun. And I know the teachers that I worked with absolutely loved it. And they said, I can't wait to try that. I can't wait to take that back and see what that looks like in my classroom.
Yeah, and I would just like to say too that, even if it's not Mystery Skype, Skype's amazing. Just in the connections that you can make, the idea of maybe an older student reading to a classroom of younger students, or something that I want to do with my math class specifically this year is, having my math students create a mini lesson and teach a younger set of students a certain math concept. So, the idea of taking responsibility and practicing and learning different skills that we never had to do as kids, but all of a sudden we find ourselves doing, our students are going to have they're just going to have the need of so many skills out there when it comes to communication and technology, and how do you put those two things together?
I do a book club in my middle school library. I've been doing a book club, and we were able to Skype with the author of the book that we read a couple of times, and kids just loved to ask questions, and we talked about like your writing process or where you're living or just background, but also fun because both the authors that we Skyped with had another book coming out in the series, so of course we're going to ask spoiler questions, and we got a couple, which was kind of cool. It's so neat to as a kid read the book, but then how many kids actually get to talk with the author of the book that was impactful, that was meaningful, that said something to them. And I know that's an experience they'll remember the rest of their lives.
I want to piggyback on what you just said there, because basically what you said was, how often do you have a chance to connect with those who are hands-on with this? And walking around ISTE, you really do get that opportunity to meet the makers, meet all the vendors, meet the people that are sitting there in front of that matrix of code. And I love the fact, and we've talked about it a couple of times in this show already, when you're working as an MIE, when you're trying to reach out to Microsoft on Twitter, you are directly talking to the people who are sitting there making the decisions, who are working on it, who are struggling. The one thing that I got out of this weekend, and correct me if I'm wrong here, the theme of this weekend was, we want teacher feedback so we can make our products better for teachers. I love that philosophy. I love how that whole thing works. And I saw several MIEs, product people, even from the top, the people that have vice president next to their name, they're sitting there with a pen and pencil going, tell us what you want, tell us what you want, tell us what you want. And I love that about Microsoft Education.
Yeah, can I just interject something here? So when I became a digital coach, I had no clue where to turn for information and for help, and say, I've got Surfaces. What do we do with these? And it was a blessing. It was a huge, unexpected blessing to find this program and become part of it, because I never expected that I would be able to reach out to as specific of development people as I have, and just multiple product areas. For instance, in November, I just tweeted out, hey, I'm going to be in Seattle. And Mike, program manager of OneNote, was like, hey, stop by, and just the ability to meet Mike and to meet his boss, and to just kind of make connections with these people, to be able to reach out to them automatically and say, hey, I'm an MIE. I need help with this. That definitely carries weight with them, because they want to support us as teachers. And I never thought that I would find a program that supports educators as much as this one does.
Something coming up this fall that anyone listening might want to consider getting, experiencing, is Hack the Classroom. It's going to be, I think it's September 24th, Saturday. It's held here in Redmond, so it's kind of on Pacific time, but basically it's a way that Microsoft is going to broadcast worldwide just innovative things that people are doing in the classroom. I got to go to the live student audience this last time, so it was people there in the audience were the guy who started the maker movement. It was Sonia, who's the kind of the worldwide global expert person, and Mike Tolson stood up and spoke about OneNote, but just people who were great teachers and making difference in their classroom, and they were also using Microsoft products, but it was about making the classroom great. And that's a worldwide global initiative. I'll look it up. I think if you just do hashtag Hack the Classroom, you'll find the information about it. But it's going to be their second one, and it's just a great way to get inspired. We had people I know that MIEs who were doing a viewing party. They got all their staff together on Saturday at school. They did clock hours for it. They held a party at someone's house, whatever it is, and just got to be kind of inspired and like, oh, there's a possibility. There's something I can do, and just hear these great stories from amazing educators everywhere about how they were impacting their students' lives.
Well, and not just Hack the Classroom too, but like you mentioned, there was that one. They had the E2 broadcast later in the year, which came from Budapest, and that one was a random time in the middle of the night for us West Coast people. And a bunch of the experts got together, and we all started our own chat room, and we watched the whole broadcast. I think it started at like 1 a.m. for us. It was really late to watch it, but it was really cool because we got a shout out from the vice president of Microsoft for staying up so late to watch it. So. But that's the kind of stuff, like when we've talked about how we really tend to become our own little community. We really do. We get together for things like that. There's something cool we all want to watch. We get together and watch it. We meet up at school. We watch it. We create our own little chat room, and we sit there and watch the broadcast and chat with each other on stuff. So it's a really fun group to be a part of.
So I think we can officially call this MIE Show Part 1. Certainly want to continue having many of these. And if you are out there as an MIE expert, please contact the show. You can find us on Twitter at TeacherCast. Leave us a voicemail over at teachercast.net/voicemail. Email us at feedback@teachercast.net. We would love to hear from you. We've loved working with all the Microsoft education vendors and MIEs over the last 2 years, and certainly look forward to doing more shows. Before we wrap up by giving one more reason why Robyn is awesome, give me your favorite MIE tool and how you use it in your personal, professional classroom life.
All right, I'm going to go first so no one takes mine, but my favorite is Sway. And I love it because it's so simple to use that I can use it with little kids, but it's also so flexible that I can use it with big kids. So I think it's a great tool that we can use across the board, and it changes it up. As a history teacher, we do a lot of PowerPoint in history, and we've had the kids try it, and I've just found a much better turnout with having the kids use Sway, and that's my big tool this year. You
can still say Sway if you want to. It's okay. We hope the Sway team will watch
I'll
the
go
show.
next so Richard can have time to think, so I can take
right.
this, tool. I'm going to talk about OneNote class notebooks. So we have a pretty decently high amount of free and reduced lunch students in our school. I'm not going to put percentages out there, but that to be said, we have an issue of consistent internet capability at home. So whether they have it intermittently or whether they just don't have it at all, that's an issue. So what OneNote class notebooks has allowed us to do, it's allowed us to allow our students and help our students use digital tools inside and outside of school, whether they have internet access or not. So that has been a huge thing for us, is how do we take this digital tool and how do we make it useful in all settings, even without internet access? So OneNote class notebooks has been absolutely fantastic for that, and how it intertwines with Office 365 and links back up when you get internet access. So OneNote class notebooks is a huge shout out in my book.
Shout out to Mike and Ari. All right, ready?
Well, I would agree with Sway. I use that all the time. I love anything OneNote related. I'm going to add a relatively newcomer to the group, which is Microsoft Forms. If you're looking for a way to get student data, to get student feedback, also to do any kind of quizzing or assessment, or you want to have student information attached to it, like so you know who actually answered, and you're using Office 365, check out Microsoft Forms. Basically very simple to set up, either a survey or a quiz or a feedback. You get live results that automatically get put into some kind of chart or data viewing tool. If you have kids already in Office 365, their name gets attached to any information they put into there. They're adding new features to it, like branching is going to come out. So if they, on question number 1, they answer C, they might get a different question number 2 than somebody who answered A on question number 1. It also gives feedback. So if kids are answering a quiz or giving information and they answer true and maybe false was the right answer, you can actually give them a hint. Well, of course, that's easy. It's better on like a multiple choice, but you can do for quizzing, formative assessment, summative assessment, all works with Office 365. I put the link into it, forms.office.com.
I got to tell you, I've tried to use Microsoft Sway as much as I can, and I'm looking forward to learning more about it. I've actually put this in the chat box right now, but all of TeacherCast embeddables are now being moved over to Sway. Because I think it's easier, and the fact that I don't need to, my philosophy on doing websites is the less I can actually do websites, the more I can create content. And so if I can change something on a Sway, knowing that it's going to update on 3 of my web pages, I think that saves me time, and that's easier. Not to mention the fact that you can embed a Sway onto a Sway onto a Sway, which is really, really cool when you're dealing with things like press kits and I'm trying to make a It's been 5 years. I'm trying to make like a who's been on TeacherCast, and it's so much easier for me to throw a million different logos onto a sway and have sway just kind of mix it around rather than I tried it on a specific drawing program. I tried it on a specific Photoshop program, and none of that worked. Sway is just doing it for me, and I absolutely love it. I might be even reaching out to the community for some sway help. But
too, when you make that sway, you don't have to try to code it to fit on a mobile device or a large screen. Sway will instantly format for whatever device it goes on. Another amazing feature. Shout out to the sway team for a product that does that for us, that takes away all that time.
And it works. And it works on WordPress.
What's awesome is that it's dynamic. So if there's a mistake that's made, you can easily go back and fix it. I just think about, if you were doing that conglomeration, that presentation of all that information, and you made one little mistake and it was like a saved form that you put out that was static, that would be no good.
Guys, it is 8 o'clock, and again, I want to say this is probably the first part of many, many MIE shows. So if you are out there as an MIE listening, please invite yourself on. And if you are part of our panel, please keep your ear out. Many, many more of these to go. Summer, let's go down here and say, where are you? Where are you from? How do we get a hold of you?
My name is Summer Windrow, and I'm out of Lafayette, Indiana, which is right across the river from West Lafayette, where Purdue University is. Go Boilers. You can get a hold of me at my Twitter handle at Summer Winrote, SummerWinrotte. Or you can also get me via email, and that is swinrote@lsc.k12.in.us.
Excellent. And Richard, how can we find you?
I live in Seattle, but I work in Redmond, Washington. Find me on Twitter at Mr. Snyderman. It's MR_Snyderman. Or you can do snyderman.wordpress.com as my blog, or rsnyder@lwsd.org.
Nice. Josh.
And I'm Josh Davis. I'm in Southern California, and you can follow me on Twitter at JODavisTTS.
Excellent. And if you are out there interested in learning more about the MIE program, please reach out to us. You can find me online and ask any questions, or else the MIE homepage is aka.ms/MIE. And we're going to make sure that all the links are up here on our show notes. Don't forget, you can check us out here every single Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. We are the Tech Educator Podcast, part of the TeacherCast Educational Broadcasting Network. You can, of course, find us on Twitter at TeacherCast. Leave us a voicemail over at teachercast.net/voicemail. Email us at feedback@teachercast.net. And we love it when you subscribe to us. Ever since we relaunched our TeacherCast site in April, our subscriber numbers have been going up, and I want to say thank you. The one thing that hasn't been going up, I want to beg you guys for, is go over to iTunes, go over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, also hit the 5-star rating version, and leave us some great reviews on iTunes. We would love it if you guys would do that. More ratings, more better, more gooder podcasts. So, it is the beginning of the summer. ISTE is done. We have a lot of great things to do. If you are around the internet on July 11th, that is our 5-year anniversary. I'm really excited about that. There's going to be a lot of great things, some amazing little top 10s coming out to support our 5-year anniversary. I want to say the start of many. Thank you guys for supporting TeacherCast over the last 5 years. It was a wonderful experience. I'm calling this the end of Chapter 1. And we're looking forward to the beginning of Chapter 2 here. On behalf of everybody on the Tech Educator Podcast and the TeacherCast Educational Broadcasting Network, keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.